Welcome to the 26th episode of The Lucid Truth, Satire and Psychedelics with Vermin Supreme. Vermin is a political satire genius, known for wearing a boot on his head and offering everyone a free pony if elected president. He just won third place in the Libertarian Party 2020 presidential nomination. In this episode, he reads us stories from his new book about the secret dental police, and becomes the first presidential candidate to release his dental records. Just so you know, Vermin is shirtless this whole episode, and I take my shirt off about halfway through, so not safe for work. You have been advised. A guest like him requires no further introduction, so please welcome Vermin Supreme. Welcome, Vermin. Thanks for coming on the podcast.
Well, thank you very much. It's great to be here. Psychedelics have made me the guy I am today, I must say. So all props to you and your fellow psychonauts. Interestingly enough, I just was elected, if you will, which is really my first elected thing, as a at-large member or delegate at-large person with the Psychedelic Caucus of the Libertarian Party. I don't know if you knew that there was actually a Psychedelic Caucus within the Libertarian Party itself.
Interesting. I'm guessing they're the only party that has a Psychedelic Caucus. I don't see that in the Republican Party.
No, not that I'm aware of. Not that I'm aware of. So yeah,
awesome.
So that's sort of like a promotion, sort of. So that's exciting.
Great. What was the position they elected you to?
It's at large. I am at large.
Awesome.
I'm not really sure what it means exactly, but I get to take in the meetings, and we had our first meeting / convention where we elected the Grand Poobah and the officers and stuff, and we came up with a proposal. We consented upon a proposal, and that is we believe that police officers, as part of their training, should be required to partake in LSD guided therapies. The idea being,
I like that idea.
That would help. Yes, the idea being that it would help, break down the ego and rebuild it up a little bit, and hopefully give them a greater understanding and empathy, and not be such violent a-holes, if you will.
Yeah, that's hilarious. I've thought about it on the defensive side. I wanted to have DMT smoke bombs that I could use to throw at anyone trying to come at me from the state, a police officer. And I figure when they woke up, they'd be on my side.
That would be debilitating, I guess. I remember the Yippies back in the day. One of their idle threats was they were going to mix LSD with DMSO. And they were going to call it lace, and they were going to fill squirt guns with it and use it and squirt it at people's or cops or whatever.
Yeah, bring that to a protest next time you go. That's perfect. So, what psychedelics did you try when you were elected? Did they give you LSD, or did you have to take more than that to get the position you got?
Nope. Interestingly enough, that was not a prerequisite or a requirement. Myself, I have not tripped in literally years. It's probably been 10 years easily, and it was quite a while before that. Most of my psychedelic exploration was when I was a younger person, upper high school age, I guess, and early college years. So probably from 17 to 20 something or so, right in there. But I sure did very much enjoy the LSD, absolutely, and the shrooms. Sometimes I wasn't too big on the shrooms because they sort of made me just be a big old bump on the log for quite some time before properly metabolizing them, and I just really didn't enjoy that sense of not being able to communicate and just being all. But then boom, when it went off, yeah, it was great. But I believe that psychedelics definitely gave me Well, they affected my personality, my ability to navigate through the planet in relation to what I experienced outside of, in this alternate dimension that is sort of the psychedelic world, if you will. And it definitely gave me a much greater understanding of my place in it and how I could interact with it in a slightly different way, in a way that was a little off, if you will, and not being afraid to present this absurdist version of myself, and push that forth out into reality. I think a lot of people are afraid to screw with reality in such a big way. But I have found that it's a very enjoyable pastime, presenting normal people in a non-psychedelic state with a somewhat discordant, absurdist presentation that doesn't necessarily make a whole lot of sense necessarily at first blush, and trying to create deeper considerations by using sort of nonlinear messaging and absurdist tactics.
That's interesting. It seems like psychedelics can really give you that unique take, but you don't actually need them. There's this thing by Terence McKenna. He says the biologist doesn't look into a microscope and then keep staring into the microscope when he finds something valuable. He takes it to the lab. So you found something valuable and then you put it into practice. And that's kind of up your satire alley, which I wanted to ask you about. You use satire a lot to get across your ideas, like
Yes.
wearing a boot on your head or throwing fairy dust on corporate politicians. And I wanted to ask you, is it effective for many people to do? Or do you think it's effective limited to the experts like you? Do you think a lot of people should be trying to do this satire, political messaging thing
Well,
to spread ideas?
I certainly do not see why not. I mean, it's an entertaining pastime. Especially if you have a predisposition and a little bit of wit or humor about you, and you can apply it to things. I mean, it's really just for me, I found that just simply inserting the word pony in every few sentences, that's high satire, but there's certainly more about it. But I believe that it can be a very effective communication strategy, and I believe that certainly other people can use it. I believe that mocking the system and making fun of the system and getting people to laugh at systems and bureaucrats and politicians is a wonderful thing. It's sort of delegitimizes the ruling class and that which we're making fun of. And it's fun. People like it. Once again, I mean, the things that I'm saying, my commentary, the crux of it, if I were just a normal person, wearing normal clothing, ranting my piece, over there or into a crowd, it just wouldn't be interesting. It would be very forgettable. It would be very dismissible. But
Right, like
because
soapboxing.
Yes, yes, but because I've, been able to put together this sense of discordiant and absurdism and a little dada and a little surrealism and just all these little Operation Mind fucking things, if you will. I believe that it's taken me a lot further than I ever could have if I was just, trying to be a pundit or what have you. Now, weirdly, you know, because I was so successful at presenting, a full-on crazy persona, it gave me enough notoriety, and I was able to rise to a certain level where I was actually able to make a legitimate offer to the Libertarian Party of my services as a candidate. And it's very interesting in that it was very successful. It was far more successful than you would have ever imagined. And just once people understood, people were very, a lot of people were dead set against it. They didn't like it. They had because they just knew me from seeing the meme or seeing the videos where I'm doing the crazy wacky stuff. and they didn't realize that there was more to it, that the boot wasn't attached to my head, and that I'm not my character, and that I'm not always on and not always disruptive, and I'm a very reasonable man with a very reasonable offer that I was putting out to them, but a very reasonable method of doing things. There's definitely a method to the madness, and I have to give a lot of props to the psychedelic states that I experienced that allowed me to have a greater understanding of the linchpins of reality, if you will. So, once you understand what reality is by stepping outside of it, then it becomes a little simpler to tweak it and change it. And I have had, I believe, a fair amount of success in doing so.
Wow, that's awesome. And I like what you said. It's not just a joke, right? It is a joke, but it's also a medium to spread good ideas. And it seems to do that very effectively. It's interesting what you said about psychedelics, too, because you're right. Once you take yourself out of reality, you can see it from like a bird's eye view, like an objective lens. And you can use it to like wiggle things around and kind of hack the system and then make things happen the way you want them to happen. So I think it's a good strategy too. How do you think we can encourage more people to do what you do? How can we have more Vermin Supremes and more people kind of taking the satire, absurdist approach to the political ruling class to try to spread this message further? Because you doing what you do is probably already led to copycats. Have you ever seen anyone like
Well, I mean,
almost doing the same thing?
there are, we, myself and a couple other performance artists, if you just to use that term, which I really don't use and don't appreciate it, but Wikipedia goes with it. So, but
It's a little deeper than that, right?
yeah, in 2016, we were doing a tour. I was with Rob Patillo. I don't know if you're familiar with his work. He does a series called Quiet Desperation. You should definitely check it out. Make a mental note.
Hmm.
Quiet Desperation. Check out season 3. Season 3 is when we started working together, and essentially it was a
Hmm.
mockumentary that he was producing, sort of based loosely on his own life, and it was improv. He would come up with the idea of what the episode would look like, and he would bring in all these friends of his, creative types, artists and actors and musicians, and just tell them, set the scene for them and let them run with it. And he would edit it down and turn it into these short 15, 20-minute episodes, and just they're full of pathos, and they're very poignant, and but they're very funny also. And he started once I started working with him on his series, I realized that he had such a beautiful talent and spirit in improv sense, that I knew that he would be really dynamic out on the streets. And so let's see, I think that was in 2012, and he actually came down to Tampa, and that was like his first political demonstrations. And he was just such a natural, because he just loves playing his guitar, and he's a comedian. He's used to doing work on the stage and with an audience, and so he was able to transfer that into the streets, and play with the cops, and
Ah.
play with the demonstrators, and keep it light. And so he's acted as a troubadour in a sense in a lot of different demonstrations over the years. In 2016, we also had Matthew Silver join us for a time. He was down at the inauguration when those police riots happened, and that was his first real hairy, scary political demonstration. But it was wonderful to have him. You may know him as the love fart guy. He went viral several years back. He was running around New York City and into these stores, and he was just wearing his underoos, and he had like this wild beard and wild caveman look. And if you didn't know that he was doing a thing, a performing thing, it was hard to tell whether he was a little mentally disabled, or whether he was ecstatic, experiencing an ecstatic psychedelic moment. If I can do a little bit, it's like, love is the answer, and it's just like it's very engaging and it's very powerful. And once again, it's this way of interacting with reality that changes reality, that alters it. And so, yes, there's certainly practitioners out there that are doing, there's some who are just doing sort of street theater type of things, but there are definitely others that are, taking it to another level. And we had our little team was called the League of Loons, and we and we hope to get the band back together sometime soon. Now, a lot of the skills are transferable because another one of the things of the constituent services that I provide is during political protests. And I've had a great deal of success interspersing myself between riot police and between the protesters and the demonstrators, because essentially in those situations, there is this vacuum in between. There's a no person's land, and sooner or later something will happen. The cops will do something stupid, or a demonstrator will do something stupid. And a lot of times, it's a lot of these demonstrators. It's a lot of people's first time on the street, so that they don't know what to expect or what to they might encounter. And so I have found that I can sort of use the humor, clowning, master of ceremonies type of thing, where I can step into that void and sort of take it over. And being calm and reflective and yet funny, I can decrease the possibilities of violence at various times by, number one, giving safety advice to the crowd, letting them know what to expect. Like, if you have asthma, please consider leaving the area. I mean, because that woman out in
Right.
Ohio just passed away
Mm-hmm.
because she choked up on the, and and letting people know, remove your contact lenses because they'll melt down with pepper spray, and so that would
Mm.
be bad, and letting people know. Walk, don't run. Please, keep an eye on the people you're with. Know where your people are, and letting people know that where there's a possible way to exit if need be, because sometimes you feel like you're surrounded by cops and it gets really crazy Nancy. um, and then I like to communicate with the police and try, and I like to read them crowd control manuals to let them know sort of how I'm expecting them to act on a professional level, and try
Mm.
and retrain them up, and a lot of times I have, like if it's a multi-day event, I'll go in there and start pretending I'm in charge, and then by the end of it, the cops sort of think I am. And of course, using a lot of humor, and during when things get really intense, I will start to crack jokes on the cops, or tell the people to, if you feel intimidated by all these riot cops, do what I do. Picture them naked. Look at them all, they're naked. Ha ha. Or or I'll tell the police that I have them surrounded, that they need to come out with their hands up and their pants down, or just different things that
You're
are fun to
surrounded.
say, and once again, it change it. Oh, and check this out. Talk about changing reality. There was this one time in I think it was to '08 in Pittsburgh. It was the G8. It was a shit ton of cops. It was a fuck the police march, and the cops were getting ready to make their move, and they were banging their shields and their things, and they're move, 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 and they're marching down the street, being super intimidating, coming up on this crowd. And so what I did is I had this little device that played the song, the Chicken Dance. And I played it over my bullhorn as these police were attempting to be as intimidating as they could. And essentially, it changed it. It made the people not so afraid because the cops seemed super ridiculous. And I met a friend of mine. Oh, and it carried over. It carried over into the police transport vehicles. The people who were all arrested are in these cop vehicles, and they're stomp, 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 and they would stomp it really loud with their feet, the extra beats, and then it carried over to the jails. So it became this device that was funny as hell while it was occurring, and then it gave everybody something very funny in common that they kept calling back to, and And I met a friend of mine that I met a couple weeks after the fact, and he told me that it was the most fun he ever had getting pepper sprayed and handcuffed. Um, so yeah,
Wow.
it's really and things like that. Really, it's about changing reality, altering the perception of the crowd. And so there's a certain bit of elegance and magic in there, and I think a lot of my things are simple and elegant. Wearing a boot on my head. It's very simple, but it's very effective in what it does and what it signifies. Even if it just signifies a point of confusion for someone until they. Um, so
Yeah,
yeah,
it's like a symbol now. It's like its own archetype. Speaking of protest, I think I'm visioning it now. Every protest should have a Vermin Supreme like barter to lighten the mood and spirits of the crowd, because it seems like it's a great neutralization strategy when
yeah,
it comes to force. I mean, a chicken dance song on a speaker on a, I mean, it is. It's so
yeah.
simple,
And
but
I have
it does
friends
so
who,
much.
and of course, I've heard people play the Emperor's march from Star Wars, the Stormtroopers march, dun 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 dun, dun, while the cops are marching in, or some other friends they had a whole bunch of things on their cell phone like bad boys, what you gonna do, what when they come for, and it just sort of making fun of the whole moment in time, in real time. And a lot of the skills are definitely transferable. I mean, if somebody's comfortable in front of a crowd, or does comedy, or just MC work, or they can do this type of work. And I do workshops actually.
Oh,
And
really?
yes, I believe in July I'll be giving a workshop on the megaphonics, at Starwood. Starwood is doing an online event, and I'll also be putting together a series of them. So yes, I'm
Hmm.
definitely trying to get out there. Obviously, now more than ever. I mean, there's civil disorder, there's civil unrest, and there's a high possibility that there's going to be a lot more people out on the streets. And so I would definitely be super happy to encourage more. And of course, clowns. Clown block has always been a thing at these demonstrations. A lot of times, you'll have small groups of clowns, and they have been able to keep the peace, or at least intersperse themselves in that space between the crowds and the cops. I remember one protest in 2012 at the NATO summit, and the cops were like this far from the protester, and this one clown, this one small woman clown, just kept walking back and forth, sort of owning that space and sort of just keeping that space a little neutral. Um,
Nice. No man's land.
yeah, yeah, pretty much.
So these workshops, they're marketing your satirical skills for
I
basically the
mean,
general public.
I guess, yeah. I mean, they're essentially, I'm trying to train people how to use certain parts of the technique. Yes, I
Hmm.
mean,
I relate with the one you said where you said you just acted like you were in charge. I did that
Mhm.
at a Beto O'Rourke thing at my school. I go to Ohio State, and I just went in there and I had a clipboard and I said signatures for Beto, and then I got all the way to the front like that. And I was not working for signatures. And
Uh-huh.
I ended up getting to the front and I was messing with them. I was like, "Are you gonna when you ban AR-15s? Are you gonna use Nerf guns instead? I recommend the crossbow and arrow Nerf gun because it doesn't even look like a gun." I got escorted out pretty quick, but it was funny because everyone was like, "Wait, doesn't he work for the campaign?" As they're getting me out of there, like, yeah, well, not quite.
Oh, yeah.
So, is this
up
is
up
this?
up in New Hampshire during the primary this last February. I was lucky enough to be able to work with a couple of real live ponies, and
Oh,
we brought them to the Donald Trump rally at the center there at the sports center, and we were able to bring the ponies all the way up the line, like hundreds of thousands of people, all the way up to the front of the building, just about before they eventually told us we couldn't be there. And once again, when people when they try and move me, it's like it turns into a movie of itself. And they were trying to, they have to move on the ponies time, and everybody wants to take selfies, and that starts to take a whole bunch of time, and the cops just get all flustered, and it's like, can we move this along? It's like I'm like, oh, it's the selfies, it's the ponies. What am I gonna do? And
Right, you want me to say
yeah,
no to
it
this
brings it
this
to a whole another level of stupid and ridiculous, and it's a beautiful thing to engage in real time, in the real world. It's because a lot of people just don't even understand that. They think my campaign is a purely internet creation or something, or it's just memes. But God, it's so much fun to really be in the zone and doing it,
Yeah, it
because people
is.
like
Those
to
this
play. People like to pretend. I mean, people don't
it's
play and
fun.
pretend enough anymore. It's like, yeah, maybe a little role play here and there, but I mean, to play around with the idea that everybody's going to get a pony, or the zombies are going to fuel our nation, and people really, like when I'm doing a college gigs, and actually you should I am a college speaking guy, as a college student. You should definitely know that. I'm always happy to
Ah.
come to campuses and get a little of that student debt money, if you know what I'm saying. Like to earn my little piece of that student debt. And yeah, but that's one of the great things when I do the Q&As. It's like it's a great mix of questions. Some of them are, real in the sense that they want to know about my personal life. Some are real in the sense they want to know my opinion about different events. But the rest are all pretend, and they're all great. And well, what are you gonna name your pony? It's like, hey, ponies. And
Integrating play is, I think, something that can really easily enhance your life, like even
oh,
in
I
boring
lost.
times.
Hello,
Oh, can you
hello.
still hear me?
I can't hear you. I've lost your audio.
Ah, let's see. Da, 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 da.
I think it must be on your end. I don't know. I can hear me. You can hear me, but I can't hear
Yeah,
you.
here we go. Can you
No,
can you hear me now?
you could
Hello?
you could write me. You could write questions and hold them up.
Ah,
But I can't hear you.
actually, I might be able to do that. Here,
No, sorry, I can't hear you. Oh, I guess
one
wait a
sec.
minute. You could type into the chat box. I'll tell you what.
Okay,
You can communicate with me on the chat box here.
here. Hello? Nothing.
Can anybody else hear you though? Can the people
Let's
at home
see.
hear you? Can your viewers hear you? I don't know.
There we go. Okay, let's ask. Dun, dun, dun.
Well,
One
in the
sec,
meantime,
Vermin.
I'll show you my dental records. I'm the only candidate who has released their dental records. Um, these are
Ah,
my dental records,
oh,
in case you were wondering. You can see. Don't call my dentist though. But you can see there's my uh, yeah, Gloucester Family Health. Yeah, okay. And
hello?
here's the bumper stickers are still available. Okay, because there is this rumor around. It's a rumor based in fact. The fact that I didn't quite get the LP nomination. Okay, Joe Jorgensen is the nominee. Spike Cohen is her vice president instead of mine, but that's okay. I'm willing to share. But, and this is very important to note, I made a
Hello?
pledge that I would not run against the LP nominee. I would not run against Joe Jorgensen in the general. I would not run an independent campaign. But the other day, I had this idea. Maybe I will just seek the nomination of the Republican Party. Ha 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 ha.
Hey, it might work.
So there you go to Vermin Supreme 2020.com. The site's still live. We got great merchandise. We got this my other car is a pony.
No.
Come on, people. Can you dig it? Can you dig it? Hmm. We got
Hello?
keychains. You like keychains? If you have keys, or you could maybe make it a little nose ring or something. You could like wear a vermin on your nose. And you like buttons? I know you kids like badges and stuff. Now, are you familiar with my new book? It's called iPony Blueprint for a New America. It's an awesome book. It's available on the
Hello?
internet, and you can get it at iponybook.com or iponythebook.com. And this book is a book. It's autoerotic fan fiction, I guess, if you were going to categorize it. And
Hello?
essentially, it's a book about the future long after a Vermin Supreme
Hello?
presidency, after everybody has their pony, after zombie power fuels the nation, and after the secret dental police have set up checkpoints
Ah,
every couple hundred yards. It is a warning
who's Vermin?
from the people of the future to you, the people of their past, your present, that Vermin Supreme is a madman and must be stopped.
Yes.
Can I hear you now?
Can you?
No, I can't hear you now.
Can
Can
you?
can anybody hear you?
Yes. Yeah.
Other people can hear you?
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool.
I have one
I'm not on
idea.
mute or anything. No, it should be full blast. It's okay. Uh,
Read. I got you. Here. No problem.
rejoin. Okay, I'll try that. I'm gonna try that. I'll
Okay.
be back in a few seconds here. Hold your horses.
Let's see what happens. Oh, great. Dude, he was ready to go for that. Holy shit. He was so ready. He took off. Ah! Oh my gosh.
I can't hear you
Okay.
now.
You can
All
hear
right,
me now?
we're back. We're back. We're
Oh
live.
man.
Is the caller there? Is the call? Yes, caller.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes,
How's it
yes.
how's it going, Mr. Supreme?
Thank you. Very well, thank you. Where are you calling from today?
I'm from Indianapolis, DC.
Wonderful. And what is your question today?
I wanted to ask you if we have to name our ponies and what you're going to name your pony.
Well, you could, yes, you get to name your pony. I guess it doesn't have to be a name. I guess that is a real interesting question. If it doesn't have a name, can you name it? Can you name it like Elon Musk named his kid some weird thing, or can you name it like the Prince
Yeah.
symbol? Can you name it some numbers? Yes, I mean, can you ride through the desert on a pony with no name? Yes, you can. I believe that it will be given an identification number just for tracking purposes, but
A
you don't
tax
have to.
ID.
Yeah, you don't have to refer to it by name. As the important thing is that the pony's upper lip tattoo and your upper lip tattoo match. So when you go through the checkpoints,
Hmm.
we'll know it's your pony.
Oh, excellent. Does
And
your pony have a name?
Tony the pony.
Oh, fitting.
Yes, I like a rhyming name. In fact, it's all here in my book, I Pony: Blueprint for a New America.
Oh,
Um, it's got a lot of good pictures in it. Also, I didn't know if I mentioned it's almost a picture book. It has beautiful illustrations. I've got like about 15, 16, 17 different artists involved. It's just wonderful stuff. And Secret Dental Police.
where can we
Oh,
get a copy?
you could get a copy on the internet, and you would find it at iponythebook.com or
Okay, I
I
Pony the book.
yep. And like here's a picture of the zombie power generation station.
Oh,
Uh,
wow, that's detailed.
oh yeah, no,
This,
this is all it's all about the future, man. We've thought it all out.
this is like a blueprint for a new world.
yes. There's like Zombie. Ooh, and there's a zombie and the ponies together, so that's exciting. Let's see what else we got. Oh, there's a scary one. Wow, look at that, huh? That's a flying winged monkey. You can see with a tooth fairy enforcer hat in the back, and it has I don't know what it's got going on there, but and and it's attacking a zombie with the toothbrushes. See, and there's a pony,
Oh,
and there's a pony. So I mean, it's a really intense, powerful book, and if you
that's
like,
very intense.
I could read you a short selection if you'd like.
I would be honored.
Okay. Well, so I shall. We- we'll make it a little story time then. Wonderful. Actually, let me do a puff of weed before I get into.
It's good to
Don't
get
want
into
to.
story mode with.
Oh yes, yes. I mean, I'm a weed head. I don't even drink beer that much these days at all, and it's just all it's all the weed about me. That's
Yeah.
trippy enough for me, man.
You lighting up during that presidential video is hilarious. How do you feel about legalizing weed? I'll just puff some up myself. Perfect, dude.
Yeah, that's Stossel. What a dick, right?
Yeah. He could have used a few puffs himself.
Oh man, he came at me hard. Hey, you your name is stupid. Hey, Vermin Supreme, your name is stupid.
I
Yeah,
thought it
right.
was great.
You think I can do my opening remarks before you start fucking giving me shit, pal? Anyway, we're oh jeez. All right, here we go. This is chapter 3. If you're ready, are you ready?
Ready?
Okay, is everybody ready? Okay.
We're ready.
There were harsh political realities when President for Life Vermin I took office. During the days of his ascent to the White House, there were over 300 million Americans living within America's previous borders. At the time, there were only 200,000 ponies in the whole country. It was a recipe for civil unrest. And those were not just political realities, those were realities. There was a very stark choice to be made. Would it be the mass execution of some 299,800,000 plus Americans in order to achieve proper pony human parity? Or would it be something else? It is certainly true that such a mass execution would create jobs. It would also lessen the country's dependence on foreign oil. It would be good for the environment. But there were some clear drawbacks to consider. Mostly, they were questions of ethics and public relations. During this time of widespread civil unrest, all options were on the table. The Dental High Command was put on high alert. The dental re-education camps were readied. Homeland Dental Security coordinated with the nation's dental police departments. The militarization of America's dental police forces had been a great idea that was about to pay off, and not just in lower incidences of gum disease nationwide. There were riots in the streets of numerous cities. The pulsating water pick cannons knocked the rioters off their feet and knocked the plaque right off of their teeth. The population was demanding their ponies, ponies that were nowhere in sight. It was a time of heightened international tensions. No one would have blamed Tyrant Supreme if he had ordered the National Dental Guard to carry out a full-scale massacre of the civilian population. It was high time, actually. The veneer of civility that had protected Americans from such real political unrest for quite some time was wearing thin. The quaint and oft repeated notion that it can't happen here was truly just a lack of imagination. It didn't help at all that recently installed dictator forever Vermin Supreme was completely and utterly insane. How this deranged hobo made it all the way into the White House was still not completely understood.
Oh my gosh, you're gonna stop there? I need to buy one now. I gotta find out what happens.
Oh man,
This is
you
more
won't
intense than iRobot.
you won't believe what happens next.
Ah! I what is it? iPonySupreme.com?
I iPonybook iPonybook.com or
Gotcha.
iPonythebook.com. Either one's
Wow.
it's a redirect.
We might have to get you on another episode and just go through the whole thing. Just the whole thing like that.
There's a naughty picture. There's a yes, there is a little bit of pony
Nice.
erotica. Be warned, it's not
Gets
safe
deep.
for work.
That's when did you finish that?
Oh shit! It's been out for a little while. Let me see when we actually published it. 2019. So it's
Oh,
recent.
just last
It,
year.
well, yeah. Well, we put it out in 2018, but it was a smaller size version. Because the artwork was so amazing, I wanted to have it bigger, and so we did this
Hmm.
second edition, which is twice the size. The other one was half the size. Although I've revisited that one, and that looks pretty cool too. So I think I might try and make both available because they print them on demand these days and what have you.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Looks like we have another caller. Let's bring them in. See what they want to ask. If you're up for taking one.
Yeah, of course.
All right,
I
let's see what they have to say.
I didn't even know that was a real thing that you did.
It's not. All
Oh,
right,
okay.
let's see what we got here today.
I'll go along with it.
Caller, you're on the air with Vermin Supreme. Where are you from? I'm from Antarctica, Alaska. Oh, those are the same place. Okay. What did you want to ask Vermin? Vermin. I've wanted to talk to you for a long time. You're a real inspiration. We have a lot of questions about your boot. What's the
Yes.
most comfortable brand of head boot?
Well, of course, there is a lot of controversy surrounding the boot itself. There's some debate. Is there some sort of small alien creature residing up inside the boot, somehow controlling my brain and thoughts and emotions and movements and stuff? Or the theory that I believe is more likely that the boot itself is an alien creature that has somehow taken the form of a boot and fitted onto my head. Ah! Ah! I hope you weren't tripping on that one. I used to have a lot
No.
of fun at the rainbow gatherings, playing with the tripping hippies there sometimes. Ha 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 ha. That's
Um,
being a clown to people who are tripping. That's always pretty funny. Ha.
yeah, it appears like you are always on psychedelics, so I'm sure they bond with you, even if you're not.
Well, I guess a lot of people do think that I might be on something or off something.
One or the other, right? You
Yeah.
ever heard of a machine elf before?
What is it now?
It's a machine elf. They're like alien entities that exist in the psychedelic realm. I think there's one in your boot, or you might be one. I'm
Is it
not sure.
like
Do you want to
those?
clear that up for people?
Is it like those robot wars that I've seen, where the
They're
kids build robots and the robots beat each other up?
I mean, they're little machine elves that are mischievous and they just mess with you all the time. They're just programmed to confuse people and play tricks on them. And they're from another world,
Like
but we think
brownies,
they might be able to get here.
like brownies, like elves.
Yeah.
Do they make shoes for people while they're asleep?
Well, if you smoke enough DMT, they might for you, but it
Okay.
just depends on your dose, really.
Are
But
they
I think there might be a few in your hat.
are they a common occurrence that people regularly see on a certain?
Actually, yes, that's the strangest part is that in all reality, everyone who takes DMT normally sees them, and it's weird that they consistently show up. Some
I
people
did
think they might be real.
I didn't see him when I was on DMT that time. I'll
Oh,
try
you've
it again.
tried DMT?
Yes, it's probably the only psychedelic I'll do just because it's I don't have like 6 8 hours to put into it anymore.
Yeah.
I'm a very busy man. I've got things to do. I can't be tweaked out of my trees for hour half a day. No, give me 15
Right.
20 minutes. Boom, I'm back. Okay,
Yeah.
that I can handle. So
It's like
for
the
sure.
businessman trip. You just in and out
Yeah.
real quick, and then you're back
Yep.
to
Yep. Yep.
reality, even though
That's
it feels like 1,000 years.
Yeah, no. The reason I
Doesn't
was
really
asking
matter.
is because it seems like there are some effects that are constant with some different drugs. The salvia, for example, when that giant disc rolls into your vision and sort of messes everything up. Have you ever done that one? The
I
salvia?
haven't tried salvia yet, but I've heard of some very weird stuff on it. I've heard
Yeah,
it gets pretty crazy.
yeah. I don't find it terribly pleasant. I mean, I
That's what I
laugh.
heard here.
I was
Yeah.
laughing my head off, but it wasn't completely enjoyable. It was pretty overwhelming. I think because it came on so hard so fast. But I didn't have that problem with the DMT. So I'm not sure what it is.
Mm. Yeah, I've heard it can be kind of unpleasant, but it's definitely interesting. So look into those machine elves and see if you relate to one. Maybe you'll
Okay.
find more out about yourself.
All right.
I finally understand. Yeah, see what you come up with there. So I wanted to ask you, Vermin, based off your book, especially after seeing that inspirational piece right there. If I forget to brush, what should I expect from your administration?
Okay. Let's see. I guess I could. All right. Yeah, I'll read you another little story. Another little piece. Let me
Okay,
see if I can.
perfect. I really want to know. I just gotta. This is important to me.
All right. Let's see if I can find it. La la la. I know it's here somewhere. Yes. Okay. No. 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 No, that jumps into the middle of it. You want to be following that. Let's see. I wasn't really planning on doing any readings tonight, so I apologize for this
Oh no, this
slightly
is great.
dead air while I look for just the perfect. Okay, I don't know why I can't find this one little bit here. Hold on. Here we go. All right, here we go. As the children rode down the street, they encountered the first of several dental checkpoints. Smile, please, the inspector said, inserting his gloved finger into the pony's mouth and lifting its upper lip for a better gum inspection. Have you been flossing? What is your pony's name? Butterscotch. And what is your name? Asher Lee, sir. Have you been flossing Butterscotch's teeth? He asked, pressing his face into the mouth of the animal to give a better look. Yes, Asher said with uncertainty. Well, her name may be Butterscotch, but her breath smells like shit.
Ooh, not good.
Wow, no man, that's not good when the dental inspector tells you that your pony's breath smells like shit. No, that's bad at all. So
No, I
I'll
think the winged monkeys might be coming.
Oh yes. Oh yes. Using his scanner device, the man scanned the tattoo bar code on the pony's upper inner lip. It was at this inopportune moment that Butterscotch decided to let loose with a round of flatulence of epic proportions. The man and the boy both winced. Karen let out a little titter. Knowing full well that he could be fined for such an unauthorized methane release, Asher Lee gave his sister a very dirty look. He dismounted his undersized steed. Not much of a dismount, really, seeing as how his feet almost touched the ground. This might be the last season that he could ride on Butterscotch's back. Soon he'd have to ride in a pony cart like the other biggers. Asher unvelcroed his government-issue pony pooper scooper. He expertly scooped up the road apples before they even had a chance to hit the ground, before fluidly flinging the poo into the checkpoint's pony poop collection target. Given the national popularity of pony ball, the hybrid sport combining polo and lacrosse, it was no surprise. Nothing was said between the two as the man, now using dental tools, continued the cursory dental exam on the pony's mouth. Another agent approached Karen and began the familiar checklist. Smile, please. Oh, actually, let's see. No, that wasn't it. That's it. Whatever.
If this isn't the world that you want to live in, I just don't understand your mindset. I don't get it.
Yeah. Dental Reeducation Center. Yes, it's not the dental reeducation centers. It's not about the preventive dental maintenance detention facilities. It's not about the DNA gene splice and create a race of winged monkeys to act as tooth fairy enforcers. Not about the government issued toothpaste containing an addictive yet harmless substance. No, 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 no. It's about none of those things. You know how much fun it is not being a candidate running for the serious office of the LP nomination. I can have a lot more fun now. Ain't that
That's
uh,
awesome.
for 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 like almost a year, for like months, I was like, oh, I'm serious. No, no, I'm Mr. Serious Vermin, and I'm here to answer some questions in a very libertarian fashion. You
Right.
bet your ass. Now I still do that, but it was now it's very liberating to be back in the pretend arena again, if you will. Not that no,
Yeah. More
now once again,
freedom.
not that I wouldn't have been a kick-ass candidate. If I received the nomination, holy shit, you can only imagine how intense and insane and where the campaign would be as we speak. But that's okay. That's another dimension, alternate dimension. It's all here. It's all here in this book. I Pony, Blueprint for New America. I'm not waxing poetic. No, I'm not waning poetic. I am living in the moment. I am enjoying life here with you to the fullest that we possibly can.
That's the spirit. All the moments, right? That's what the psychedelics
All the
show you.
moments.
It's nice.
Yes.
Speaking of
All the
the speaking of the campaign, since we've kind of been I haven't really asked you very many serious questions, but that whatever, that's okay. I wanted to ask you about Spike and him taking his
yes.
shirt off.
Yes.
It seems
Yes.
like to me he should have that freedom, you know? I don't
Yeah.
understand what
Yeah.
everyone's so up in arms about.
A bunch of malcontents. I mean, one of our points was that the politics of respectability was highly overrated, to see, let's say the least, and that they were completely irrelevant and useless as a tool to propel ourselves forward. That was a big part of it. I mean, Spike was way on board. He loved the idea of the nonlinear messaging, using absurdist pretend talking points to get people interested and pivot to real deal. I mean, the man's a very good communicator of libertarian principles, a wonderful podcaster, and a great human being. I was very, very happy that he became my VP, and I believe we were a great team when we were together. And there does seem to be a minor clash of styles, but ultimately it's a fusion ticket.
Yeah.
And you know, the delegates spoke. The delegates, in their wisdom, chose Spike to be the Joe's VP. And so I believe that they had some idea, and just the fact that Nipplegate became a thing, and it's once again, I believe that I myself am way more of the social libertarian variety than economic. I mean, yeah,
Hmm.
okay, I can be down with the capitalist paradigm, because that's what that's a linchpin of the party, and so I didn't mind representing that. I myself am open to ponynomics or any sort of economic system that seems to make sense. I mean, but I'm happy to exist here in the reality where the dominant paradigm sort of is that's just the way it is. So let's work with it. I'm okay with that. In addition to be a visionary, I'm also very practical.
Right, a little bit of both, pragmatic and visionary. You've got the pony-based economy later, the regular capitalist economy now. Fuse them
Yeah.
together over time.
Yeah, it's okay. I mean, I don't, I mean, I personally, I don't care who owns the means of production. If you want to have a collective and pitch your money in and buy a machine that makes some widgets and you sell them, what do I care? If it's one individual who has that idea and builds that machine and sells shares to shareholders or whatever, that's fine too. What I mean, it's okay. But that's just me. That's not. I'm not your standard libertarian, and no longer do I have to represent myself as such. So that's good. Also, I'm not a spokesperson for anymore, and I'm not strictly representing the libertarian platform as I was as a candidate because I was part and parcel of the whole package. Um, so yeah, I mean it's interesting to see. I don't want to get too into it, but I'm thinking it's going to be a very interesting year.
Yeah, well, for the rest of this podcast, I want to put it in dedication to Spike. So just give me 1 second here.
Okay.
Okay,
Woo!
cool.
All right.
I did say, please be advised, just saying, right at the start. So everyone is advised.
Woo!
Hey!
I couldn't do that. If I was still a candidate, I could definitely not do that.
Well, I'm happy for you, Vermin. You can finally let yourself be free. This is great.
Actually, I think I did that.
Did it anyway, didn't you?
Actually, yeah, I probably did. But that was part of the offer. That was me. If I was the nominee, the candidate, it would be like that, but crazier.
This is what you are. You don't want to hide yourself. Well, I got some good questions for us to finish like this with. So let's do some.
Sure, shoot.
Let's go for those. So with Chaz, right? The autonomous zone.
Yeah.
I was thinking maybe we could all declare ourselves autonomous zones because we all are autonomous zones. So then we're these small autonomous zones. I'm going to start saying it myself. I think more people should start running with the idea.
No, I think ultimately that's a very libertarian notion that you own yourself. That we where my autonomy ends is where our skin meets the outside world, I guess, to a certain extent. And
yeah. So I'm hoping that trends soon. That would be awesome. In terms of
micronations, there's a lot of micronations. A lot of people have been claiming little spits of land or little and making it independent, their own independent nations, and with various levels of success.
Yeah, like the seasteads, they've got little startup societies. We've got autonomous zones now. So I think that's going to start spreading. I wanted to ask you too about the.
I want to ask you: Have you ever been to a rainbow gathering?
No, I haven't, but I've been invited to one for later this year, so I think I'm going to go. Have you?
Okay. Yeah. Like I say, the psychedelics and the rainbow gatherings; those two things in conjunction really help create my skill set. I think the rainbow gathering is, of course, where I've been attending them since '87 for over 30 years. I've been making it to the nationals, me and my wife, and I learned how to be a wacky clown. I was able to polish up all my crazy clown skills, and then I transferred a lot of clown skills to peacekeeping and Shantae Sina is what we call them ourselves, and it's essentially crisis management, a little bit of glorified camp counseling. But a lot of it involves escorting the police through the camp. And so early on, I would spend like 8 or 10 hour shifts walking with half a dozen or 10 troopers or stadies or feds or whatever, and just spend the time propagandizing them and warning the hippies of their presence and making fun of them and having fun with them. And it definitely gave me I felt very comfortable because I knew people were watching my back, and a lot of times we'll have a whole bunch of people. I think the last little event I was at last year in Wisconsin for a few days, there was like 2 different groups of like 10 cops in each group, and they were just patrolling through the camps. and we had people on both of them, running up, and they were being real obnoxious, like get away, trying to demand that we be 25 feet away, or else they're going to shoot us with pepper balls. And
Ah.
I'm all like, you got a tape measure there, pal, and I don't know. And
Maybe
so
some
then
DMT smoke bombs would be fine, but I'm good on the pepper, I think.
the two groups met up, and they were in front of this camp, and it was once again it was getting tense. And so I told the people there just to picture those cops naked, and then they did, and they started laughing, and then the cops all ran away pretty much. So
Oh, perfect.
it worked. It worked.
So, speaking of rainbow gathering and psychedelics, do you think this kind of fits together perfectly? If we were to legalize psychedelics, right? We could put it on your next campaign ticket, legalize psychedelics, right? And then we could give it to the police to hopefully make them more peaceful, and then we'd be one step closer to a voluntary society. I don't know if that was something on your campaign though. Was legalizing psychedelics one of
Well,
your
because I was utilizing the Libertarian Party platform, the platform itself specifically states that yes, the war on drugs must end.
Mhm.
All drugs should be decriminalized, and it's nobody's business but your own. Quite frankly, you, and you do you. So yes, absolutely, 100%. That was the John Stossel question when I lit up. I wish I yes.
Yeah. No, what were we gonna say? You said you were gonna wish.
Oh, upon a star,
Oh,
make
yeah.
a wish.
Well,
But
one day.
I can't tell you what the wish is, or it won't come true.
Oh, good. Perfect. Okay, cool. Okay, Vermin. So our last guest, you actually know our last guest, and I wanted to ask you about her. Lynn Ulbrich. I saw a picture of her when she came on of her wearing your boot on her head. Can you give us just a little background on that story before we get into the last question? Because that was an awesome combo right
Oh
there.
goodness. Well, just Lynn. She managed to come to many events that are libertarian in nature. She's been up to the Pork Fest, and of course, trying to
Mm.
raise awareness of Ross and Ross's plight, and keeping his name out there, and trying to continually you know and just by being at these places, such a reminder, such a powerful reminder that Ross is in jail for essentially
Mhm.
ever unless we can get him out of there. And so I guess that was at the Freedom Fest in New Hampshire in, I forget what month it was. I think it was prior to the primary, and it was at the, oh, I can't even tell you the name. Let us suffice it to say that it was that photograph was taken in a secret underground libertarian
Oh.
uh, membership society, or clubhouse, or something along those nature.
Ooh.
It's a very nice place. They have the bar downstairs, and they got I guess you bring your own booze, and you get it served, or something, something on there just barely legal, and then you get the little smoking lounge, and it's all very chill. And yes, and so it was that night, and Lynn was there, and I think was it James Babb's idea? Somebody just had this wacky idea that they wanted to see my boot on Lynn's head, and she was amenable to it. She was okay with it. Didn't force it upon her. I generally, uh, I don't think I would have asked her to or tried to make her
Yeah.
under any circumstances on my own volition. I think that would be extremely presumptuous and perhaps even rude. But somebody else did, and so we all went along with it. And that was how that picture came about. And yeah, it was very funny, and she was very happy and we were all very happy. So it was a nice night.
Yeah, it was great. We were looking at it for our last episode, and it was very funny. And I was curious as some of the details were, so I
What
figured
did,
I would just ask
what
you.
what did she say about? Did you ask her?
Oh yeah, she was talking about it. She said it was really, really funny, and she really was having like a crazy time at this libertarian event. She didn't expect to have your boot on her head, but it just ended up happening. And she's looking left and right, and then she's got a boot, and she was like getting a picture out of nowhere, and that's how it went. She was pretty happy about it. So she sent me the picture to put on the stream. So
Oh.
it was perfect. Yeah. She wanted everyone to see it since you were coming on next. So
Oh, that's
I
great.
promised I'd bring her up.
Oh, bless her, man. Oh, that's so good. Yeah, she's really nice, really good people.
She is awesome. Man, free Ross, free ponies, legalized
Yeah, first.
psychedelics, cops taking
Mhm.
psychedelics. All right, Vermin, I got to ask
Woohoo!
you the question on everyone's mind, and then
Sure,
this will
shoot
be
it.
our last question.
Okay.
Are you running for the Libertarian nomination in 2024?
Hmm. I am running in 24 for sure.
Perfect. Somewhere.
And it's very, 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 very tempting. I will say that there are, the people who have worked in my campaign have sort of are favorable to that. I believe that we obviously have a much more solid base in the party. I mean, I always felt like I had a lot of support. I always felt like I had a base there, a political base. And this year was just so different from anything I'd ever done before in my life, really, trying to make an actual thing of it in an actual political party and actually going to the debates and the state conventions and and representing it to the best of my ability to the outside world. And so it was definitely forced me to develop a different communication strategy that involved more serious takes mixed in with the humor. It involved working with a lot of people and me letting go of a lot of things. I mean, I had people, writing for me and words were going out, under my name as if though I had written them. And I don't even know if I've even read all of them. And, but in trusting people that are so good at knowing what I'm trying to say and writing in that way, you know, um, so that was just a really different and amazing way of working, and then trying to convince so many people because there was a certain level of salesmanship involved, where I was trying to convince naysayers and people who weren't sure and people who were dead set against that it was a good idea, that it was a pragmatic thought, it was a feasible, sensible way to propel us the party forward.
Mm-hmm.
And just to see that, just that exercise alone, when I entered it, I felt I was very successful if I could get somebody to simply agree with the statement that what I am presenting, the idea that perhaps I could get 5%, the percent that I could bring in a lot of people into the party, that it was not inconceivable. And more
Looks like
often
it
than not,
worked to me.
people said, that is not inconceivable. And so, yes, just and to be able to bring it up to that level where I ended up with the, one out of five delegates. So it's very tempting to try and build on that. I mean, every election I've ever run has been, I've been trying to make it a little bit bigger, a little bit better. Not so much different because it's always sort of the same, but it's always a little bit bigger, a little bit better. And so it is very, very tempting to think about that. It was
Awesome. Well,
also
we'll be
it was
standing
also it was
by.
also a lot of work, and it was a big pain in the ass on a lot of
So you've got a little bit of a compromise to kind of sort out with yourself there.
yeah, I mean, I have to, 4 years, I'll probably forget what a pain in the ass it was. How much what various stress levels that were at various points and at various events, and yeah, yeah, it was a lot of work, but it was a lot of fun, and it was one of the biggest collaborative efforts that I've ever been involved in, quite frankly. And it was sort of this proof of concept that the campaign is a campaign of infinite potential. And, I brought it to this certain level where I could do it alone. And then all of a sudden, all these other people are working on it. And we had so much momentum, man. I mean, could you feel that momentum going into that convention?
Yeah, your campaign assistant or manager, Desiree, she is
Hmm.
awesome. She does
No,
so much
yes,
great
yes,
work.
yes, yes, yes. I mean, you could feel it. I mean, we were a
You got a
juggernaut. I mean,
whole thing going on.
there was so much excitement, and not in the, it was bigger outside of the party. I mean, I was feeling it like it was like woof. It was amazing, especially when those commercials got when Daniel Smoltz put out those commercials. You are the power. Um, this moment. Did you see all those?
Mm-mm.
Oh, dude. Oh,
Oh,
you gotta check them out. Oh, you gotta go to my go to the Vermin Supreme YouTube channel. Vermin, it's called Vermin Supreme, simply enough.
easy to
Check that.
find.
Yeah, check that one out and check out some of the commercials. The In on the Joke was a really good explanatory 10-minute mini doc of what it was that we were trying to explain, what we were trying to do.
Oh,
And then there's like this, there's 3 or 4 1-minute commercials. One is called You Are the Power. Um,
these were your
one is
campaign
called,
videos?
yes, they were
Oh,
campaign commercials, and they were very super powerful and super inspirational. And yeah, you should
wow.
check them out and share the link for sure.
Yeah, so you're thinking about 2024, but you're not sure. It's going to depend on how you weigh
Yeah,
those memories when the decision comes, right? Maybe
yeah,
50-50.
we'll see. I mean, yeah, sure. I don't see why not, but on the other hand, maybe I'll just think it was too much a pain in the ass. We'll see because anything can happen. In between the election years, anything could happen. Anything could
Right.
happen. My whole thing could take some other weird direction or some such.
True.
So we still got the new documentary that's slowly getting released, or at least it's been licensed. I don't think it's been released anywhere, but we're keeping an ear and eye out for that. This is Vermin Supreme. You can see the trailer for that. If you've never seen the documentary Who is Vermin Supreme, that's a great documentary. You should watch that
Mm.
on Vimeo if you get the chance. Um, it covers a lot of the protest world stuff and a lot of the crazy funny stuff. Um, a lot of the Rob Patillo stuff. And 2012 was the year that I ran with Jimmy McMillan as my running mate, so he's in there too.
Oh, nice. So this is a little bit of an older one. I think I've seen the one on Venmo or Venimo. Yeah.
Vimeo. Yeah. Could be. It's a classic, but it's so beautiful. It's people really find beauty and inspiration in it.
Yeah, well, I've got my
That's what
fingers
I'm always
crossed.
trying. That's what I'm always trying to offer that to the people. Beauty and inspiration. You hear me, you fuckers? So be inspired, okay? The world is
Well, we'll
beautiful.
take it.
You are love. You are love. And mutual aid and love and compassion is what will see us through.
Yeah, you
So
don't need any
do it.
LSD to accept that, but it might help depending on who you are. So, Vermin, I got my fingers crossed for 2024. I hope you run, but if not, I'm sure you'll be doing some awesome stuff. If your campaign vocally supports psychedelic decriminalization, which, like you said, it already does, you
Oh, it
might get
does.
enough of those machine elves on your side, those dimensional beings,
Uh-huh.
to really pull a landslide victory, at least in this dimension. I don't know
I'm
about the
I'm
alternate
I'm hoping I'm
dimensions,
hoping
but
for a
in this
water
dimension,
I'm hoping for a water slide victory.
yeah, in this dimension, just, psychedelics, throw those out there, and then those beings will come and you'll have extra dimensional entities on your side. And I think that will really take you off. So thank you so much for your time, Vermin. Best of luck for your
It's
future
all here in my
endeavors.
new book.
It literally is, isn't it? Do you want to give us any links to find any of your stuff,
Oh,
or just the
okay,
book
yeah.
is
Sure. If you do Facebook, you can go to Vermin Supreme for President. It's the blue check mark, or Vermin Supreme is my own one, and Vermin Supreme's Dank Meme Stash on Facebook is another good one if you
oh,
like dank memes. Although I haven't pruned it in a while, so there's a whole bunch of off-topic crap there, I'm sure. If you do Twitter at ampersand Vermin Supreme, or the ampersand signal, the circle A. Vermin Supreme, just at Vermin Supreme, is on Twitter. On TikTok, at the real Vermin Supreme is on TikTok. Thanks for reminding me. I do owe them some content. You would think at 15 seconds a pop, I could do it a little more often, but sorry, kids on TikTok, I owe you. We're on Instagram. I think it's Vermin Supreme for President, and a whole bunch of other things. The movie, the book,
the
Vermin Supreme 20,
workshops.
yeah, the workshops, verminsupreme2020.com. That's where we keep the calendar and updates of things that we got going on. And yeah, hopefully get that workshop and make that public soon. And Oh, and we didn't even talk about the Vermin Supreme Institute.
Oh,
It's a real
that's
thing.
a thing, huh?
It's a real thing. We are becoming a 503c4.
A real
It's a
institute.
not for profit. It's a not-for-profit organization. It's going to be primarily educational.
For satire and stuff, right? Like we were talking about earlier.
Yes, yes, it's going to have a lot of that, but we might be an actual social service organization too. The way it's set up, the way the 503c4 exists, is it gives you a tax exempt place to park your money. It gives you it gives you this paper organization that you can make a bank account essentially, and then you can get donations, and you don't have to report who's donating to you. They're anonymous donations. So a lot of people like that part of it, as
Especially
opposed to
libertarians.
yeah. So you can send me your dark money, and I will launder that into a whole lot of fun, hopefully. And so yeah, we're going to be an institute, and so it's the Vermin Supreme Institute. So that
that's awesome.
So that's exciting. I think that's very exciting because the campaigns, formerly the campaign staff, is now morphing into the institute. Ha ha ha
Great.
ha
Well,
ha.
as long as you launder it, I'll send you my dark money. Just, make sure you flip it through a few times.
Absolutely, absolutely, for sure.
Awesome. So, I can't wait for the Vermin Supreme Institute. I will be a primary member. I hope everyone else joins to see your content. And in terms of this episode, everyone can find that on thelucidtruth.com. So, thanks for
Oh,
tuning
and
in.
don't forget my fans only fans. My OnlyFans coming soon.
You have it. Are you serious? You're about to make a lot of money, Vermin. All right. Make sure you send me that so I can get it to our listeners.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
I sure so will.
I pretty much have to. So awesome. Well, thanks for coming on, Vermin, and I hope to see everybody else for the next episode of The Lucid Truth. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed that interview with Vermin. That was one of the most fun episodes I've had on the show so far. The video version is available on the Lucid Truth YouTube page if you'd like to see us both shirtless together. It's quite the sight to behold. You can find the Lucid Truth podcast on our website, thelucidtruth.com, or on Spotify, iTunes, and YouTube. You can support it by sharing it with your friends, donating on Patreon, or following us on your favorite podcatcher. As always, thank you for listening, and I hope to see you for the next episode of The Lucid Truth.